Hi, everybody. This is Andrea Adams Miller. I'm the executive director of the keepsmilingmovement.com, which is a 501(c), and we are a movement, and our mission and goal in the world is to amplify goodness one smile at a time. So if you're watching this, you're probably wondering, what does being involved with a nonprofit have to do with personal development? Well, passion of over the last 6 years. Well, I can tell and share my story to why personal development really happens when you're part of something bigger than yourself. So let me give you a little bit of a backstory about the Keep Smiling movement. And first of all, thank you so much for being here. It really makes me excited to know that there's people out in the world investing time in themselves and being here to see how they can change and adapt and create a world and manifest a world that is the epitome of who they are and what they care about and what's important to them. And that is of the utmost importance to me. So I'm so glad. I'm fixing my thing. Can you tell? I'm so glad that you're here with me so that we can do this. So today, I'm speaking I'm speaking the executive of the nonprofit that Keeps Smiling movement on behalf of our principal players. And the first one would be Ken Rochon. Ken Rochon is our founder. Now, Ken, I can show you a picture of Ken. Here's this is Ken here, Ken Rochon. And Ken Rochon is a celebrity event photographer. And how he became to be the founder is, well, Ken and I met 6 years ago on an internet marketer's cruise. And shortly thereafter, he met this wonderful man at CEO Space, and this man is this guy here, the joy of living. That is our lovely Barry Shore. Barry Shore is this absolutely amazing man with so much heart and so much to give. And when Ken met him, Ken was quite taken aback because this guy is so amazing, has so much heart, that Ken was really moved and inspired by him. And you might ask, why will Barry do that? So, well, Barry not only is loud and loving and full of joy, he's the ambassador of joy. And he made what I just did seem like minus volume 25. That's how big and wonderful, he's all about joy. And the reason he's the ambassador of joy is he originated these cards, the Keep Smiling cards. And when Ken met him, Barry gave him one of these cards. And then Barry gave him a second one and said, give one of these to someone else that you like or love, or someone that you want to know. And Ken was like, well, what are you doing with these cards? I'm really, this is amazing. Or do you have a movement? And Barry's like, well, I pass out the cards and stuff. And Ken's like, yeah, but, I'm a celebrity event photographer. We could take pictures of people holding the cards. And, I'm a marketing person. We can put these up online and, really create a mass movement with social media. And Barry was, sure, let's do it. Great. So and founded the movement of using the Keep Smiling cards to create a Keep Smiling movement. So Ken, shortly thereafter said, Andrea, I met this guy. He's amazing. How would you like to be involved? And I immediately was sucked in. For me, I was sucked in because when I was like around 11, I noticed that my Aunt Audra, who was 3 years older than me, would always hide her smile. Her teeth were just a little bit crowded, and she had what I call a perfectly imperfect smile. And it would make me cry to see her cover her mouth. It just pained me that her beautiful smile to her was something that she should hide. And I just really loved her and respected her. She was, my best friend. And I knew then in my life that I'm like, I've got to do something with smiles. Someday I've got to help people feel their smile or help them fix their smile, just something. I knew all along that I would grow up and do something with smiles. So when Ken invited me to come on board, of course it was a yes. So then there's a little bit more of a story to why Ken was doing this. About the time that Ken had met Barry, Ken had been on a personal development journey through a couple years where his mom had passed of complications from Alzheimer's. And when Ken's, the last 3 years of her life, Ken, fortunately, because he also owns a DJ business, was able to spend his days going and helping take care of his mom. So I think he went and helped in the morning, went in the middle of the day, and then helped get her ready for bed. And doing this caregiving for the last 3 years of her life, Ken realized that he wanted to do something more. He wanted to have something with deep commitment and passion and leave a legacy. One thing that was really important to him, and he wanted to instill the values that his mother had given to him for the world, and he wanted to have a family someday. He now has a 6-year-old son, and it's really for him about leaving a legacy for his son and for future generations, not only his own family but other people's families, about leaving a legacy of love that embraces all cultures. See, he grew up where they traveled. His dad was in the military, and he lived in India. I think he was in Germany part-time. He also has traveled extensively. He's been to 103 countries. So Ken noticed that when he would go from country to country, the thing that got him through, even though he didn't know their language, was a smile. So one of our sayings is the universal expression of love and acceptance is a smile. And that cross all cultural boundaries. And we really believe that. And I've been to, I think, 37 countries now, and I have found that as well. We have these cards, by the way, in 25 languages right now. We're in the process of changing them into 50, including Braille. Here's 2 examples of cards in other languages. And we find that when we give the Keep Smiling card in another language to someone, they just light up. They're so excited to see that they are included and that we're reaching out to them in their own language. So it's been quite amazing. So that was, Ken's personal journey is like really trying to capture a way to deal with his mom's death and leave a legacy in remembrance of her, and leave a legacy for his son. For Barry Shore, there is, again, Barry Shore, his personal development came from having perspective at the things that he's done in his world. He owned a jewelry business, I believe in diamonds. He's had multiple other companies of amazing things that he's done to really instill power and to create social responsibility, and been extremely successful. And at one point in his life, he woke up one day perfectly fine, and by nightfall, he was a complete quadriplegic. Yeah, you heard me right. He woke up fine, and by nightfall was a complete quadriplegic. No accident. Nothing happened like that. What happened is his body, internally, he had an undiagnosed autoimmune disorder that usually people have symptoms over time, and that can occur. But for Barry, it just happened within hours, and he found himself flat on his back for 8 years being a quadriplegic. Now, I kind of already gave away the story a little bit. I said for 8 years, here and living in joy. But what had happened is the first 4 years, after being a man who's been so successful and out and about and abounding all over the world, here he's flat on his back for 4 years. Well, during that time, at one point, he became a little sullen, and his rabbi came to talk to him, and they talked about a smile, and they talked about how, Barry and his smile could change his external environment and could really create a place of joy and positivity. And that's who Barry was and always stood for. And for a while there, he was losing his smile. And so, wanting to be a good steward of his faith, and dedicated to creating change, he started really focusing on his smile again, because he always had a great smile and always was gregarious to other people, and realized that in time, yes, quickly changed his environment. The standards of care changed in the hospital. People would come to see him from all over. The vendors from the hospital would come to see him. He really changed his world with a smile. Yeah, with a smile. I think about that. When you keep smiling, you literally change the world around you. Well, then Barry started realizing, wait a minute. If I've been able to change my external environment with my smile, what would happen if I took that same smile and turned it inward? Could I change what's happening in my body? Could I overcome what's been happening with this neuro pathways that have prevented me from moving and walking? So he spent the next 4 years dedicated to that internal smile of positivity. And could he overcome this? And 4 years later, which was a total of 8 years that he was a quadriplegic, he became mobile again. And so brings the help of a 6-foot walking staff, and he swims daily to help keep his body moving. Now, that's not to say that Barry's life is perfect. He's not, going out doing a perfect choreography, tap dance number. He does have some limitations with his feet and hands. However, he doesn't let anything like that stop him. He is just so out there and ready to create a change and to make the world a better place that it's just been amazing being around him. And he just fills your whole world with joy, being in his presence. So that's why, Ken was so taken aback by his wonderfulness, and why so many people are enlightened by what he does and delighted by what he does, because Barry's an amazing man. So for him, his personal development was accepting his quadriplegia and then overcoming it with the forces of a smile. What you might know is an average of 400 times a day. That is so amazing. What is not amazing is, well, maybe it is amazing because it's crazy to hear. Adults on average smile 20 times a day. 20 compared to 400. I mean, what a huge loss in happiness. By the way, when you smile, you actually give your body a dose of dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, and endorphins. And when you have all those neurotransmitters downloading, and uploading and connecting and, creating this opportunity for your body to have the effects of those 4 neurotransmitters, you actually feel better. You smile. You actually do smile from the smile. So it makes you smile more. And did you know that a smile is contagious? When you smile at someone, can't help but smile. And even when, you've done that, when you smile at someone and they're like trying to be mad at you, and you go, oh, that you're going to smile, that you're smiling, and they can't help it. They usually come out and start smiling. And even if they're fighting it on their face internally, they're turning on some of those factors, because they start to actually feel better and things are lightened up. And a smile does so much to change our lives and to change who we are. And so, for Barry and for Ken, that was all part of their personal development. Now, for me, I said it affected me because of my Aunt Audra. Well, my Aunt Audra was my best friend because I was an only lonely child. I grew up in a household with a dad who is, he's a loving man. He's also very domineering, and the TV often was more important than anything I had to say. So I was often told to shut up. And you know, feeling dismissed and feeling worthy and unimportant, I went into my room to cry, to be alone, and I found solace in reading books. Books were my escape to the world. They were the opportunity for me to explore a different life than the life that I had, where I was, lonely and limited. And ultimately, it's through that personal development of accepting who I was and having self-confidence and feeling confident with my voice that I could, I actually get paid to speak now. I'm a keynote speaker, as well as a spokesperson as executive director for the Keep Smiling movement, as well as I'm a spokesperson for other businesses and so forth. It's hysterical. I'm also an international publicist with the Red Carpet Connection. I own that business. And so I speak up and stand up for people, for for their businesses and products and services. I had never had that personal development over the years to address those things that were limiting me. I wouldn't have been able to do the things that I do now. And I wouldn't live with such a beautiful, abundant smile that really allows me to manifest and change my life and to create it the way I want it. It's been quite exciting. So let me share with you why your involvement with any nonprofit, it doesn't have to be the Keep Smiling movement, although we would certainly love to have your smile as part of it. And a lot of times people don't realize that when you are part of a nonprofit for personal development, it doesn't mean that you have to give financially. Although financially is extremely appreciated and helpful, it's not the only expectation or an expectation. Your time, your commitment, your skill set, your knowledge, maybe your services, all of those help change the environment of the nonprofit and can really add value. And it's really kind of interesting because a lot of times people don't realize the personal benefits of being part of a nonprofit because, yes, you are giving to the nonprofit. The nonprofit, hands down, is so appreciative of your skill, time, talent, and energy, funds, whatever you bring to the table. As executive director, oh my gosh, I'm so appreciative of anything that anybody does for us, including just smiling with me. That just makes me, so uplifted. But the benefits that you get from being part of a nonprofit really change the trajectory of your life. So let me just kind of go over a couple. I wrote some down. One of them is your personal growth, especially with the Keep Smiling movement. Part of the Keep Smiling movement, if you desire, you can co-author. I actually have an example of a book. We have over 100 books published and about 40 more in the works. And these are where people participated with us by co-authoring a book. So Ken came up with the idea and started these books. Emily was actually our very first adopter of the Keep Smiling book. So, what a benefit it is to share and talk about her each time and to share the love that we have for her. She is a dentist. And what this book is about is what we first do is we have you write your story, a condensed version of your story. Because so many times we have learned that people don't know your story. They don't know who you are. They don't know why you came to be, what your passion and purpose is in the world. So my book, the red one, here, I'll just bring it down. Here's a copy of my book. My book, a woman color edition, has my story in it and explains who I am and how I came to be and how I felt repressed and how I was able to change and actually use that to create a career that I'm actually paid to speak when I was often told to shut up and be small, so I shared that. So my story's in here, just like Emily's story is in hers. And I have multiple examples of other books behind me where other people shared their story. So not only do they share their story, but the book also shares the story of the Keep Smiling movement. Now, I notice the light is very bright. It's kind of hard to see. But also within these books, we have the story of the Keep Smiling movement, your personal story, but then you also pick out 100 other people to be in your book. And these are people that you admire. Maybe they're your fans or followers. Maybe they're part of your tribe or your group. You have in there your enemies, all fabulous people that you choose to be in your book and to work with you. Here's a picture of Ken and I. And here's my story. So A Heart of Gold inspires a red carpet of smiles. And now my book is a little even more special in the fact that I had written my story, but Ken surprised me with a special cover. Since the work I do as executive director, since I own the Red Carpet Connection, I wear red every day of my life. And so Ken made my book red and put my picture in the center of the Heart of Gold. I actually won an award by my peers. I think only 13 people in the world have ever received this award. It's where of 450 peers, I was nominated as the most giving and selfless when it comes to business and personal relationships. And that to me is a huge honor to have from very top internet marketers from all over the world. What valuable gift. I actually was nominated other years as well, but you could only win it once. So it was quite an honor, and it's something I'm very proud of. And Ken knew that, and he was proud of me for it. And so he created this special cover and this special framing for me. So, and then we have choices where people can have different books and different choices, whether they do a montage like that book there. I believe that's our Black Women of Influence or Black Men of Influence. We have books that are by a city as well. You could do a San Diego book or a Dallas book, Atlanta book, a Chicago book. We already have some of those. I have right above me right there is a Vegas book. And we have books from all these different cities where people have also been co-authors. So we have co-authored city books where people want to be present in their community and want to honor people that are in their special community. And talk about personal growth is when you people invite people to smiling shoot, and we have their pictures taken, and you learn to meet other people and connect with them, and you get to share your story of your personal growth and what made you want to do a book with us. And gosh, what an excellent feeling to be able to be honored for your personal story and for who you are, and to be able to recognize 99 other people. This copy happens to be a black and white one. I prefer the color, so you have choices of you want your copies in black and white or color. And so there's a lot of personal growth that happens from doing these books, especially in telling and sharing your story. Of course, it creates and builds really authentic relationships because you're being real. You're telling your story of, how you overcame trials and tribulations. And some people have had unbelievable, crazy stories that are just that you unbelievably wonderful, resilient people. And stories, maybe you had a really great life and you didn't have a tragedy or a horrible childhood. Well, thank God. We're so glad to hear that. We want to hear people had healthy, productive lives and great parents and, are resilient and doing awesome. And at the same time, maybe they had something that they wanted more, or they had a dream they wanted to fulfill. And so they tell that journey of how, they wanted to create more, or do more, or inspire others to do something. All of those are personal growth stories that are just so amazing to read and to know about. And then when people read that, they want to be connected with you, both in business as a client or a fan or a follower, or as a peer, or maybe even a joint venture partnership, because of who you are. So you create these beautiful, authentic relationships. And, also when you're in the nonprofit and part of one, when you're an ambassador of the Keep Smiling movement, you start to feel like family. I mean, I have been with Ken now for 6 years, and, the love that we have for each other and the love that we have for Barry is so immense. And as new people come into our fold to help stand up and be ambassadors and take leadership roles within our organization, gosh, we just love them. And we have this sense of belonging and unity and connection. And that within personal development is such an amazing feeling, because you have this support that you never knew that you could have, and this extended family connection, that the ties are so strong. Sometimes they're even stronger than what you have in your personal family relationships. And it's so beautiful. And then it's also a community of like-minded people. People that used to be in your who want to stand up about smiles, these people come vetted as wonderful, beautiful people. I hesitated there a second because it said that my internet was unstable, so I might have frozen the frame. But that sense of family, wow, that's something that's unshaken, is when you have that sense of community. And you also have that sense of altruism. Anytime in your life where you start to feel like things are not so good, or get shaken by something or upset about something, when you can take your eyes off of yourself and look onto someone else. My friend Susie Nelson says this all the time. She says, and my dad says, my father said, take your eyes off yourself, Susie, and look onto someone else. And she says that almost every time we speak. And that phrase really does me good. Speak to people that I with over the years in business and partnered with, anytime that something's been shaken, wow, you do something for someone else in their world and have a sense of social responsibility for other people, it changes the dynamics of how you think and feel. And when you do put your eyes on someone else, it really changes your life for the better. And that's part of the personal growth that comes from being in a nonprofit, is that the world is bigger than you and bigger than your problems, and your problems matter and you matter. And collectively, the world matters. And what a perfect time right now in our world to bring people together for positivity and for social responsibility, for positive change in the world. You may not know there's actually a happiness index. 156 countries participate. And so we have become universal in that, is that we've been reaching out. We spoke with Minister of Social Sustainability in Egypt, and she's so excited about what we're doing. And I've been introduced to Minister of Hard Labor in Romania, and we'll be forming relationships with them and alliances with them in other countries, because we want to increase the happiness index for all countries all over the world, for the people who live in their countries. And because we also know that from the research that we do and from the case studies that we have, from all the stories that we've collected and doing a meta-analysis of other research, is that we go and speak at like the World Congress on Brain Mapping and Therapeutics, Tesla Tech, Energy and Science conferences. Ken and I, and Barry too, have been speaking all over the world about the influence of smiles and how they bring joy and happiness to people. And not only joy and happiness, they also are that we smile more, there seems to be an abundance factor, and that you find that you have enough for the things that you need, and that you attract more into your life, or even more things for yourself and others. So, and health is increased as well, and relationships are increased. So if you know that you can have better health, wealth, money, relationships, and love just by smiling, wow. I mean, who doesn't want to have a contagion like that, right? It's the best kind of virus to have. I want that viral contagion, and I share that with everybody that I can. There's also pride and joy that comes from being part of a nonprofit and seeing it grow and seeing other people benefit from the things that you do. And it's not just our organization. The personal growth that comes from working with other organizations comes from being a part of, being an ambassador with the Keep Smiling movement. Because we also help write other organizations that we're participating with. What we do is we co-author books with them, and then we share their movement and what they're doing all over the world, and introduce, when Ken and I and Barry go to events, we make sure that they know about our other people that have co-authored with us and their organizations. And sometimes we travel with them to their events and to their worldly outreach, so that we can cover those things as well. So we're really, the Keep Smiling movement is about creating and generating advocacy and awareness for those other organizations. So we help with Precious Kids Foundation, which helps feed, clothe, and educate and do medical care for orphans in Uganda, and also provides help for the adults in the community, because those adults are who help oversee all those orphans. We help with Unsilenced Voices and goes to Ghana and here in the United States and helps women who are victims of domestic violence. We also have a book with for the Wounded Blue for officers who've been injured in the line of duty. We Will Survive Cancer. We have a book for the Bold, Bald, and the Beautiful, and those are people both who are bald by illness, bald by genetics, bald by choice. Being bald can happen for lots of reasons, and we want to honor people who may from other people be considered follically challenged, but are absolutely beautiful with their beautiful bald heads. And we want to honor them for being bald and for showing up and taking pride in their scalp, in their skull, in their beautifulness. There's all kinds of reasons that we have found to honor people and amplify their goodness for who they are, how they show up in the world, and their pride. So that really, when you start recognizing people for who they are, that really is a reflection of you, and you have great pride and joy in recognizing and accepting people for who they are. Oh, along with that comes unconditional love. When you start looking at other people and seeing how you can add value to them and their nonprofits and their for-profits that are also doing things like amplifying goodness in the world, you have this sense of unconditional love for people, that you love them for who they are and where they are, no matter what they have going on. And that really changes how you see people and how people are seen. When people are seen and respected, they change. I can give you a personal example story. As a person who worked in corrections and then law enforcement, I often worked the violent felon ward. And the reason I work in that area is because I had a really great relationship with the people who were imprisoned at our jail at the sheriff's department. And I found that in respecting them as human beings, they had a respect for me. So when I was working, the behavior was awesome. The way they treated each other was more respectful. The relationships I had with them allowed them to open up to me about what was going on, where I could just connect with them and be of service to them, to provide tips and information on how to make their daily grind be more beneficial, to help them who they were in their personal growth and development. So because ultimately they were going to be coming out of jail, and I want to add to their world so that they come out knowing that they are a contribution to our community by accepting the sentencing or punishment that they had for whatever crime that they committed. And we want people to feel good about themselves and feel positive about what they can contribute to society. And so by treating people that way, that's how they felt. So, that's one means of, as an example, that when you love people for who they are and where they're at, and that doesn't mean I accepted what they did. It means I accepted the fact that it had happened and I wanted to believe in them being better people. I really contributed to them being able to step up and to be different. So when you look at people with unconditional love, you allow them to step into their awesomeness. And that's part of personal development as well. So it's really, the fact that I'm the executive director of the Keep Smiling movement, what it has done for my personal life and my professional life outside of the nonprofit. And I suppose the last thing I could say to you guys, it's about leaving a legacy. It's being part of something bigger than yourself. And the way that you grow and adapt and change when you know that you are leaving an imprint on the world for something bigger than yourself. Wow, that feeling, that sense of awe and joy and pride and connection and all of that just comes together. And to think that you're leaving that for generations to come and making an impact on our global community, it's absolutely amazing. So I want to encourage all of you to become ambassadors of the Keep Smiling movement and other nonprofits in your world, or if you own a nonprofit, to reach out so we can figure out how we can collaborate together. And if you own a business, for you to reach out as well. By your personal growth can also come from aligning your business with the Keep Smiling movement, so that we can, and certainly I have a whole nother program that it's all about the benefits of aligning your business with a nonprofit and the benefits that come from that. So there's so much more to gain. You can reach out to us at www.thekeepsmilingmovement.com. And we encourage you, at the least, is to smile and hashtag keep smiling, hashtag keep smiling movement on social media, and to like us and connect with us at Keep Smiling Movement on multiple social media platforms, and share pictures of people smiling and funny jokes and funny videos and things that enlighten and bring your joy and stories of positivity. Again, hashtag Keep Smiling at Keep Smiling Movement. And also we encourage you to consider um, our race, become a volunteer, spread the word of sales and to spread a smile, one person at a time, so that we can start doing smiles from one to many and to bring up the vibration of the entire earth. www.thekeepsmilingmovement.com is how you can reach to us. If time and energy is not available to you right now and you'd like to make a financial contribution, certainly those things are always valued as well and important, and you can do that there. And we'd love to have more authors, because especially me, I get that your story and your voice is really important, and I want to hear what you have to say. I want to know what you've been through and how you found your smile and created smiles and bring joy to the world. And that's what all of us at the Keep Smiling Movement desire, is for that hope and inspiration that we provide and give to other people. Now, by reading your story and by seeing all those beautiful contagious smile to hundreds. So thank you so much for listening and investing the time here for what a nonprofit can do for you, for your personal growth, and can help you explore things that matter to you to make a difference in the world, and really help you find your passion and joy in life. So with that, hashtag keep smiling. Love to you all. Thank you again, Andrea Adams Miller, Executive Director of the KeepSmilingMovement.com. Bye.